Hey guys, what's up? It's been a while. I want to make this video to give a few life updates, where I've been, how my life has been going, what I'm up to now, business, making my first $1 million, a lot of cool stuff that I've been doing over the past year or so. This entire 2024. I'm gonna keep this video super raw and uncut, but there's a couple life updates I just wanted to give. Basically, so where I've been, why I haven't been posting YouTube videos in I think the entirety of 2024. I have been basically for most of this year studying in university, college, and working on my business. So for those of you guys that didn't know, I graduated this year, University of California, Riverside. I studied business administration and I graduated after this spring. Really cool. At the same time too, I was having a lot of trouble because I couldn't really balance school and business. I didn't want to be one of those people who dropped out of college and be like, oh yeah, I'm a college dropout. I did everything on my own. I figured a bunch of shit out. That's really not me. I actually don't regret going to college, even though I could have made a lot more money this year if I just foregone my senior year of college and jumped straight into just the business aspect of it. I didn't really graduate with the highest GPA because I knew I wasn't going to pursue a master's degree. I didn't want to be an engineer, a doctor, lawyer, anything that basically required more schooling. I just decided to focus 100% on my business. I actually never really told this story, but I had an internship last year, September 2023. I got fired like 2 days after Christmas because I kept calling out, yada, yada, yada. I was basically a really bad employee, and not to say that I'm not a hard worker or anything like that, but it was super tough. I couldn't focus on my business, school, and the internship, and ultimately I got fired. So I'm really thankful for that. I basically couldn't do either well. I couldn't do either well, which was school or business. I was kind of like teeter-tottering in between both. I was stressing myself out because I needed to study for finals and had all these papers due, and I had clients messaging me and I needed to do proposals, send estimates, a lot of the stuff that comes with running a business. So for those of you guys that don't know or haven't really been seeing my previous videos or even follow me on Instagram, I kind of post a lot of updates. I've been posting a lot of my life updates on Instagram, but basically I'm 25 years old, just graduated college this year. I have my own business. I made my first $1 million this year, which is actually super cool. It's always been a dream of mine, and I'm actually very healthy. So yeah, kind of living the dream right now. I've always kind of dreamed of making $1 million, and now that it's happened, it's really cool, but it's definitely nowhere near where I want to be. After I graduated college, I was living on campus, but a week after graduating, which was I think the middle of June or towards the end of June, I moved out to an apartment with my roommate, who also happens to be one of my best friends. He's also a fellow entrepreneur. He also owns a business. So that's been pretty cool. Yeah, but I didn't really spend too much time after graduating university that I was like, dude, I gotta like leave to another town. I'm still located in Southern California, near Los Angeles. So for those of you guys that kind of like know the area, yeah, it's pretty cool. So basically, how do I make money now? Because one of the more popular videos on this channel that I posted was when I was 21 years old and I was making 10 grand a month for months on end. That was during the pandemic. So 2020, when I was 21, I was making about 10 grand a month. If you guys go back and see that video, it was a couple things: online e-commerce, investments. I was like doing photography, freelancing. But how do I make money now? So what is exactly my business? So I own a general construction contracting company. I build pools and outdoor landscapes, and I have finally broken into real estate investing, which has always been on like my dream board or my vision board from a couple years back, and it's something that I've just always wanted to do. So yeah, those are the two things I'm doing now. That's how I make money. I make money through general contracting construction. I own a construction company, and I am a real estate investor. The real estate investing hasn't made me a single dollar yet though. So those are my two businesses. One of them is pretty profitable. The other one I haven't made a single dollar on. So yeah, kind of like making my first $1 million with my business. I kind of want to skip this whole thing and I don't, just to be straightforward. I've had a lot of help. I've been extremely privileged, but I've also been somebody who's taken advantage of those opportunities and capitalized on them. I'm not somebody who's like super self-made or I did everything on my own. No, definitely not. I've had a lot of help along the way through mentors, my father, my real estate mentor, and a lot of the connections that I've been able to make. So basically my dad owned he actually still has a company, but he owned a previous construction company, and I incorporated my own construction company this year, and my dad has been a super big help in terms of teaching me all the ins and outs of the business, clientele, where to find suppliers, subcontractors, all that stuff. I don't really want to get too much into that. That's probably like a whole separate video. But yeah, kind of like the first few clients that I've had this year. I think one of my biggest clients that I've had this year, I think it was $150,000 project. And the crazy thing is that I had that project when I was in the middle of school. I was building a pool in San Diego, California, and it was literally in the middle of my spring quarter, so like my last quarter of university. So I was literally going crazy trying to study for finals and then keep the client updated with all the logistics of my employees and what was going to be going on week by week. And it was a pretty lengthy project. I don't think I finished it until a couple weeks before I graduated, and I started that project probably in March. So it was about a 2-3 month project almost. Really big project, but yeah, making my first $1 million. So I, up to this point of 25 years old, I've already made my first $1 million in my 20s, which is kind of like crazy to say because it's something that I've always dreamed of doing. But now that I've done it, it's like, hey, so what's next? I'm just kind of continuing to set the bar higher and look into long-term investments of what I actually want to do over the next 5-10 years. So I kind of always known that I wanted to start a business. Pretty weird. I don't know, ever since I was like 5 years old, 10 years old. In elementary, I was always selling like candy, hats. High school, I was selling like clothes, t-shirts, a bunch of stuff. Probably had a couple random jobs in high school. But yeah, I basically known I've always wanted to do a business, and I would get a lot of anxiety too, especially my senior year of college, because I never had any internships or serious like corporate job experience like a lot of my other peers did. I always was just like, kind of felt like this outlier because I was so involved in this business thing and marketing and sales. I would read a bunch of business books, and it was very hard finding other students who were on that same frequency, because a lot of my peers from university were caught up with their internship or looking for an internship, or they were looking for jobs that they wanted to do post-grad, or they were going to go to a master's program. And like, there was all these fucking ideas that I was thinking of doing, these routes that I was thinking after taking, because I honestly didn't even know what I wanted to do after university. I was kind of torn between, well, should I just fully go balls to the walls with my business, or should I actually look for an internship or something like that? But yeah, basically started my own business, haven't gone bankrupt yet. And yeah, it's going pretty well. Not super rich yet, or where I want to be though. I did mention that I have a lot of these long-term plans in entrepreneurship and business. And one of the big things that I would always experience too when I was in university is how short-term other entrepreneurs, or not even entrepreneurs, just people in general, even university students, that's kind of what I've seen. A lot of people kind of just focus on the immediate term, what they can do over the next couple of months or the next couple of years, not really over the long term. And when I talk about the long term, I mean like the next 10, 12, 15 years out. I've always found myself of being somebody who's very, very forward thinking of like, hey, this is where I want to be in the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. This is exactly how I'm going to get there. I don't really care what's happening in my life over the next 3, 6 months, year, 2 years. I've always been focused on like, hey, what's over the next decade or the next 2 decades or next 3 decades. And I think where a lot of people fuck up, and it's what I've noticed, is they're so caught up on making X amount in a year or making X amount in a couple of months, because, you know, a lot of university students or a lot of college students are trying to be like, hey, I'm trying to land a position, or I'm trying to get this job that's making me 70K a year, 80K a year, 150K a year. I mean, whatever it may be. The thing is, when you kind of like break down what the decisions or the choices are that you want to make over the first year or the next 10 years, where I've always seen people mess up is like, hey, I want to do this over the next 1 year, and then they do that for a year, and then a year turns into 5 years, and they're kind of still stuck in that same position. Maybe they get a little bit of a salary bump, but when you kind of break it down, you're investing a lot of your time, especially when you're in your 20s, which is probably the most important time of your life. You're investing a lot of time just focused on these short, safe decisions, because going to university and getting a job is what was instilled into my head, sort of, and I had to like break away from that. And I had a really tough time focusing on the 10-year decisions of what I wanted to do, of working on the business or real estate. You know, my real estate development journey, I build houses from the ground up. I don't actually build real estate, but like I said, that's a whole another story. But it takes a long time. A lot of these real estate projects that I'm doing are going to take me 6 months, a year, to get built. And it's not like something that makes me money immediately. So that's why I have the construction business to help me with cash flow. And then a lot of the investments get funneled back into my second business, because that's ultimately what is going to make me super wealthy over the next 10, 15 years. And that's kind of like where I've been gravitating towards, because the way I see it is I'm super young and I don't have like a lot of responsibilities. So I can take these crazy fucking risks, whether they work out or not. And these risks, I think, are what separates people who are kind of successful and massively successful, because the younger you are, and which is what I've kind of always realized since I was like 18, 19, the younger you are, the bigger amount of risk you can take. And it's okay if it doesn't work out, because over the 10-year span, if you continue to take these big risks and you continue to learn off of every little mistake or failure, ultimately you're gonna win. It's kind of like weird how life works. You eat shit or you fail on so many occasions, but you have so many years of experience kind of like at failing under your belt or not making money, that come year 5, year 6, or year 10 even, you have built something that has made you $10 million over the course of 10 years, which is what I'm focused on with the whole real estate development thing. Instead of being so caught up on like, hey, I need to get a job that's going to make me 100 to 150K a year. If you compare the two, if you spend your whole time focused on the short-term immediate decisions that are making you 100K, 200K a year, over 10 years, you only really made $1 million to $2 million. And that's like, you know, taxes, you got a bunch of other stuff but theoretically, if you make 200 grand a year in 10 years, you only made $2 million and you spent 10 years doing that. Or if you actually took the time to build something that took you 8 years or 10 years or even 15 years, you probably didn't profit the first couple of years, but come year 10, year 15, you built these assets like real estate or whatever, any business that, hey, I didn't spend my time 10 years ago making, just focused on this 100K, 150K a year job. I actually spent the last 10 years building this empire, and I'm worth $10, $15 million now. That's basically my long-term plan and how I've been viewing where I want to be over the next decade, 2 decades. That's kind of that for that topic. But in terms of my financial situation right now, I don't really have the need for money. The apartment I live in, it's only a couple grand a month. I don't need money in the immediate term. I kind of just spend most of my time cooped up in my apartment working on my business, which is the cool thing. I basically just use money for essentials, food, gas for my car, cool things like that. Trips. I actually went on vacation quite a lot this year, but the people that I met and the experiences that I experienced have helped me like really grow a lot as a person. That's like the thing I did. After graduating university, I went to Europe like 3 times for weeks, and I think like a month on end at the longest time when I was right after I graduated university. And that's probably like one of the best investments I've made this year. But besides that, money-wise, a lot of my money goes back into assets or my business or various businesses. I'm in a position where I get much more satisfaction actually building up my business and thinking of, hey, where do I want to be in 10, 15 years? And how are the decisions that I'm making right now financially or in my business going to get me to that point of where I want to be over the next decade or 2 decades? So, that kind of goes back down to being focused on the $1 million decisions or the $100 million decisions. I'm at the point in my life where I'm not even focused on the couple 100,000 or even like $1 million or $2 million. I'm trying to set myself, I don't like to say trying, I am setting myself up in a position where ideally, I do want to be that person that gets to that point of 10 million, 20 million, even $100 million, if God allows me to. But yeah, and university was like super weird for me. A lot of people kind of like looked at me weird, and it was tough having conversations with a lot of people that were seniors at the time, like myself, because everyone was just kind of focused on the job, like getting a job or what internship they were doing or extra summer credentials to look good on their application because they wanted to apply for XYZ job. And there's nothing wrong with getting a job. I think, having a great career or a job is great, but like I said, it's kind of something that I've always feel like I've labeled myself as this black sheep. I don't want to say I'm like other people. I'm a pretty normal guy, but in the way I think and the things I want to do, it's very hard finding other like-minded individuals who you can kind of share your ideas with, because I feel like sometimes my friend has this saying, my roommate, is that you're kind of like pouring into people's cup and they're not really getting it. I kind of like don't want to get too much off topic about that, but yeah, I basically kind of had a lot of anxiety my senior year because it was kind of hard finding other university students to relate to. But yeah, I think that's kind of it for this update. I don't want it to take too long. I think I only said like originally I wanted this to be 10 minutes, but it's been a little bit longer. But yeah, I kind of want to thank my family. They've been a huge support. My family has been a huge support up to this point. All my friends, my clients. Ideally, my big goal is to retire my parents. I give my parents money right now on a monthly basis. Not like crazy amounts, like tens of thousands, but a couple $100, sometimes even a couple $1,000, you know, just to be fully transparent. It's probably like not like a crazy amount. But yeah, I definitely do try to help my parents out as much as I can, because ultimately I will be retiring my parents, putting them in a nice home and just making sure they never have to worry about money. My parents are in a position right now where they're good. They don't have to worry about money. But I really want to like just anchor it home and be like, hey, you for sure can never worry about money again, because they've done such a great job of supporting me. And they've been the biggest reason of why I'm at where I'm at right now. Also my friends and clients. So yeah, and I guess a lot of people who were hoping I would fail or were kind of preying on my downfall, if you're watching this, fuck you, you lost, because I'm doing everything I said I would and more. Whether you like me or hate me, you're watching, and that's all you could do. Well, yeah, I mean, that's kind of going to be it. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this life update. Make sure to follow me on Instagram. It's Jose Rojas, but with a 0. So it's J0SEROJAS. I'll probably like post that somewhere right here. But yeah, subscribe. I'm actually going to be posting a lot more long form content, because I fucking love making content and sharing my experience with all of you guys. So yeah, I'll be posting some more fire vids, books, a lot of book recommendations. I've read a shitload of books this year. Mindset stuff, life updates, business stuff, advice, etc. So if you like that type of thing, if you like that type of content and you want to keep up with my journey here, yeah, make sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.